it's not my weekend anymore. But you never know, I might go back to it one day.
Oh no! You are Captain Fantastic.
The only reason these people want me is because of my football thing. I never saw myself as a captain. You know, I'd always hoped to be.
The Old Trafford Stadium has been home to Beckham since he signed with Manchester United, the only team he ever wanted to play for as a 16-year-old apprentice. But it's as the captain of England that he's come of age and entered football legend.
This is a very special flag.
Very, very special.
This is for the one and the only, the master himself, David Beckham.
Like David Beckham.
Captain Marvel, we call him. He's total class, isn't he?
I think he is the best in the world.
Things just wouldn't be the same without David Beckham. David Beckham is football.
And football is drama. As the last seconds of the game against Greece ticked by, Beckham lined up for a free kick. The fate of England's World Cup ambitions weighing on his shoulders.
Arguably the most recognisable footballer in the world. Yes! David Beckham has done it! Big time!
The goal that fast-tracked the England team to the tournament also stoked up the pressure on the captain.
Is life now so busy for you that you don't really have much time to get relaxation in?
It's busy at the moment because there's so many games we've had. You know, we've been playing in Europe, been playing for England, and the thing is, they're such big games. You know, the importance of a lot of the games have been unbelievable, really, at the minute.
Life was simpler back in 1996 when the shy 21-year-old first played for the senior England squad.
If you look back in '96, the way that he played that game, and then look at him now, and you'd say, well, they're two different people. Obviously, it's 5 years. It's 5 years of unbelievable club football as well as international football.
Beckham's waiting on the edge. Gascoigne can tee him up. David Beckham.
Obviously, because it was the first game for the full England squad, you know, I wanted to play well and impress and stay in the squad. I done all right in the game. Done all right.
I remember when I took over the job, I went down to Toulon to watch the under-21s tournament, and I could see he was clearly, you know, way ahead of that level and should be in the senior squad. And we brought him in, and he was looking at Alan Shearer and David Seaman and Paul Ince, Paul Gascoigne as the stars. He was in awe of them a little bit, and that was probably because he was quite a shy lad. But when he got on the football pitch, he was their equal.
I wasn't starstruck, but I was a bit nervous about meeting some of them. Gazza was the best at that time. You know, he wasn't one of these players that when a young player came in the squad, he ignored. He was one of the first to come up and shake my hand.
In 1998, host country France was in the grip of World Cup razzmatazz. Beckham had played in all 8 qualifying matches, but as the tournament began, manager Hoddle left him on the reserve bench.
You know, I've been working hard in training since we met up with the squad, but you know, I'm trying to work a bit more harder now to get in the starting 11. But in the end, it's up to the manager, and you know, the manager picks the final 11. If I'm not in it again, then you know, I'll have to work harder.
I said at the time that he would be playing a big part in the World Cup, you know, and he'd be disappointed. But at that time, he wasn't focused.
He felt my mind was more on my home life than my football life.
Well, you were about to be a father.
Yeah, of course, but I was also involved in the World Cup. Of course, my mind was on that.
Game 3 was against Colombia. Hoddle played Beckham, and Beckham played like a man possessed.
How did the game go from the start?
Really well. You know, I felt good right before the game. Obviously, because it was my first game in the competition. So I felt I had something to prove.
He'd been rehearsing this trademark free kick since childhood. It was his first goal for England.
Brilliant free kick. Unstoppable.
That's my highlight of that World Cup. scoring that goal and playing in that game. The atmosphere with the fans was amazing. That was a special time. Felt like to me like this is where my World Cup begins.
The Colombian goal had made Beckham a hero. One game later, all that was to change.
Wait a minute, he's taking another card out for Beckham. It's a red card for David Beckham. Oh, no.
Obviously coming out for the second half, something just flipped really. Temper, frustration. Maybe it was a bit of everything. But you learn from your mistakes, and of course it weren't a happy time, but I didn't think it was going to be as unhappy as it was.
He did become the most hated player in England, and he was booed. But I was at the game as well, and I felt he was very unlucky, extremely unlucky for the referee to send him off. I thought that was very unfair and unjust, and obviously had a major effect on the game then. David Beckham didn't take the penalties in the end. David Batty missed his, of course, and the rest is history. But it was David Beckham that was vilified. David Beckham was the villain of the piece thereafter. It could have changed David Beckham's life for the worse if he'd really let that incident in St Etienne affect him too much.
Some of the things that were said and written and done were a disgrace. They should have been aimed at the referee, his decision, rather than at David.
That's what makes it even more sweeter, I think, reaching the World Cup Finals, because of the disappointment with the last World Cup at the end. You know, of course, the experience of playing in the World Cup I'll never forget. But obviously, the only thing that people remember about that World Cup is my sending off. So, and the thing that I remember about it is my goal against Colombia. So that's the sort of, I want to make that turnaround.
Any message at all for the fans about what happened?
He's had some downs in his career, but he's had a lot of highs as well. You know, he seems to have an insatiable appetite to be the best and to be the best that he can possibly be, and that's fantastic. That's a great drive that comes from within. You never think it when you look at him, especially in '96, that this player could become one of England's greatest players of all time.
And all right, 3 years ago, you're this hate figure because of tapping that Argentinian. Who asked for it, by the way. I thought you'd let him off lightly, but nonetheless, you're reviled. What did you decide to do? Just sit it out and prove them wrong?
Yeah, I think that's been my mentality through my whole life. You know, I've had knocks at certain points in my career, and it's just my way of getting over it. You know, I want to show people that I can be the best and do the best that I can for my club and my country. You know, and it's taken up till probably I was given the captaincy to prove that I can do it at international level, and it's given me that extra responsibility that I've actually enjoyed so much.
I think David Beckham responds to responsibility, and I think that being captain of England was something that he probably wouldn't have articulated it as being something that he required, but when he got it, he knew it was what he wanted all his life, in a sense.
Before I'd got the captaincy, I'd played obviously a lot of games for England, 30 games for England, but you know, I'd never played probably to my full potential. Well, I didn't feel as if I had, and I don't know, it seemed to give me a new lease of life, a new responsibility, which even I'm starting to realise now.
He said he wasn't a natural leader. Well, David, we all disagree with you now. You are captain fantastic.
Since he's been named England captain, I think he has stepped up another gear, I really do. I think his overall play has been fantastic. His work rate is second to none. His contribution to the England side over the World Cup campaign over the last few games has been astonishing.
That having got the captaincy, I think it kind of reaffirmed Beckham in the eyes of the public and re-established his own confidence in himself. I think he did a very important job psychologically for him. And you saw that in the game against Greece, where he single-handedly took us into the World Cup. Of that there is no doubt.
It wasn't a brilliant performance by us, but David played like about 5 men, and he went all over the place.
Almost a personal crusade from the captain here.
I'm not convinced he would have done that if he'd not been captain. I know it sounds crazy, but to me I think he felt as though I'm the captain here, we're not doing well, I'm going to do even more.
David Beckham.
You know, we had sort of 15, 20 minutes to sort of try and get through to World Cup Finals, so I just sort of went on walkabouts and tried to do different pieces of work. So in that game I probably worked harder than I've probably ever worked in a game.
He won that game, I think, for us. And I was extremely happy for myself, for the team, but also for him when he scored the last goal with his marvellous free kick. I think he deserved that because he pushed the team all, especially second half, for 45 minutes.
I remember putting the ball down and Teddy stood there. He said, I'll have this one, and I was like, no, I want it. I said to him, it's too far for you. But I remember just putting the ball down and thinking, this is it, it's the last chance. I don't want to be in them qualifying games. Then I run up. And as soon as I did it, I knew it was in. I've said it before about free kicks, that as soon as they leave my foot, I'll know if it's in or not.
Has the game, sort of, even since you've been in it, changed a lot? I'm thinking of the amounts of money involved.
Obviously it's changed rapidly over the last 5 or 10 years, the amount of money that's in the game. It's not taking over the game, but it's close to.
Most of it's come to you, though.
No, it doesn't actually, believe it or not. Believe the papers too much.
I think you're Britain's highest paid sportsman, aren't you? Or second highest paid?
Off the pitch.
Between matches and training, there's just enough time for big business. An elite group of top athletes have the right profile to massively increase their incomes, endorsing everything from underwear to soft drinks, insurance to sunglasses.
All the companies that I work with are brilliant, but this is one of the nicest. They're all Italian, they're all such nice people. It's one of my favourite shoots.
Did you ever think, when you were kicking the ball in the park, that one day you might be being a model as well?
No. I don't think about that much now. All I ever wanted to do when I was young was play football. Play for Man United and play for England.
And is that still all you really want to do?
Yeah, it is. It is. All the extra stuff, yeah, it's great. It's great to do something different. But at the end of the day, the only reason these people want me is because of my profile at Man United and, you know, my football thing.
His football thing, combined with his good looks thing, has made the boy from East London the darling of the advertisers. At this level of achievement and fame, the celebrity becomes a brand in his own right. According to marketing expert BJ Cunningham.
Beckham, the brand, has a certain attitude and a certain promise, which currently means something, and our propensity to believe that promise, which we currently do, is valuable. And there's a potency around that brand, which is around the name David Beckham, the brand David Beckham. And those values at the moment mean winning. They mean a dogged persistence. They mean courage. There's a sort of an unpredictability. Something's going to happen and it's going to be good. That's Beckham.
Now he's on an international stage, England's captain is even more irresistible to the marketing men.
You got my trainers in there. Apparently they're £600 a pair. And there's only 400 pairs in Europe. That's what I've been told. Is that true? Yeah, it's true. I hope it's true. They're practical for going out at night. Not going down the gym yet. No.
Sequins wouldn't work for football boots, though, would they?
They'd look good on a pair of boots. Might have an idea, yeah. Look good, wouldn't it? All the floodlights are shining off them.
Not only he has fulfilled the dream, the biggest dream of young people possibly, but at the same time his attitude, the way he dresses is very much what is going on in every street in England, and so he represents very well something very achievable, something touchable that exists already in our culture. He could be a normal guy, a good-looking guy, not very normal, and the gift is that he's also a great footballer.
I have a daughter, 15 years old. She likes Beckham very, very much. And she met him some weeks ago, and she was shaving to shake his hand, of course, because he's not only a big football player, he's a big star for many young boys and girls, I think.
Very good, hold on a second. Has she washed her hands since?
I don't know that. I hope so. I hope so.
What do you think today? Too many flags.
He's got that kind of sex appeal that goes across the age group. I mean, he came to my dressing room looking for a shower because he'd come down from Manchester. And he was wearing just a pair of baggy pants and nothing else, just the torso was bare. And he had that lovely build of a cruiserweight, you know. I mean, he looked good. I mean, of that there's no doubt. I mean, even a man could appreciate the way you wish you looked like that. And he came, I said, it's down the corridor. And he went out the corridor, and coming down the corridor towards him was a 50-year-old BBC secretary, you know, a mum. Right, and she was walking towards him, and he walked, this naked man with her, and she went, oh, she went, the tizzy. And he said, hello, how are you? And she went, oh, how are you? And she walked past me, she said, and me, a married woman, she said. And I thought that's wonderful, because you take it for granted, it's a given that the kids adore him, but the middle-aged mums adore him too.
With Kevin Keegan as manager and a new air of optimism in the England camp, David Beckham was recalled to the squad for the European Cup campaign of 2000. After the doldrums of the World Cup, it was a chance to keep his head down and his nose clean. It wasn't all plain sailing though. Crowd abuse at the game against Portugal sparked a display of temper. This time the press and the manager were behind him.
If you'd have been in the tunnel and heard what I heard, I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it.
There was the incident with me and my finger to the England fans. Well, some of the England fans, because the majority of them was absolutely unbelievable during the game. The atmosphere was great. I expected to get a bit of abuse again from the papers about it all, but for once they stuck up for me, so that was a nice thing.
The match that would fast-track Beckham's international career was a disaster. The World Cup qualifier against Germany was a humiliating defeat. It marked the end of Wembley Stadium and Kevin Keegan's career in international football, but he'd made Beckham vice-captain.
It was a really bad day. You know, I was actually at that game watching it, and you know, and to find out at the end that Kevin has gone, it was a really disappointing day for English football.
How did you feel when he left?
I felt sorry for him, really, because of the reaction of the fans at that point in time. I felt it was unfair, and I was surprised, really, because no one had a clue that he was going to leave. I didn't feel let down at all by him. He'd done a lot for me, more than enough for me. I didn't feel let down by him at all.
And in came Peter Taylor, who changed your life completely.
Yeah. Changed my career, probably.
Peter Taylor, caretaker manager for just one game, had everything to play for and nothing to lose.
As soon as I got the call that, you know, would I be manager for one game against Italy, I said that I'm going to pick a young squad. I'm going to give people a chance to see what they can do. As soon as I really made up my mind I was going to do that, for me, David Beckham was the only captain.
Sometimes you look for a captain who's got leadership qualities on and off the pitch, and other times you look for a captain that's got to lead people by example on the pitch with his ability. And I think that's what Peter looked at.
I think that the way that he played after the '98 World Cup, for me, he should have got Player of the Year, and so to me, he deserved it. I phoned David up and said to him, of course he's in the squad, but David, I'm going to name you captain, and he was over the moon about it.
You know, it was Peter Taylor that had the balls, had the bottle to pick this young team, change it totally around, make me captain, which was controversial enough. You know, people were saying, you know, he's never going to be a good captain. He's too temperamental. He's, you know, certain things, and he was saying that about the players as well.
Tall order for any England team, let alone an experimental one, but Peter Taylor believes that so-called friendlies should be used to explore fresh ideas.
There was a lot of experts at the time that said, what's the point of playing Italy with such a young team? You know, what are they going to learn? But to me, it was the opposite. It was the other way around. To me, it was, if you played Italy with an experienced team, what are you going to learn? Sven, in the stands, got a lot more out of that game than he would have done watching all the experienced ones, which he knows anyway. He would have seen them play in the Champions League and so on.
It wasn't going to be a friendly against Italy because every one of us was fighting for a place. I was fighting to stay as captain, and every one of the young players was fighting to win the game. It wasn't a friendly in our eyes. I just couldn't wait to get out there, put the armband on.
At the time, was it the proudest moment of your life?
Yeah. Career-wise, football-wise.
I saw a change in David in the respect of the Italian that scored the goal was trying to get David going, and David, to me, deliberately walked away because he knew he was England captain.
I remember that I think the ball going up in the air, and I felt that it was a penalty, and I went down, he went down, then I started to run off and he come up and started, you know, giving me a little bit of abuse, saying that I dived. And I didn't react, I just ran up the pitch because, I don't know, maybe that was a turning point in the way I reacted on the pitch, because I didn't react, simple as that.
The last time I talked to you about captaincy was the night I think you'd just heard that you'd become captain for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And you said to me, even if I die the next day, I'll be the happiest man on earth.
Mm.
And you said, I'll also be happy if it's only do it once.
I said that at the time, it wasn't the truth. You know, you never know what's going to happen when people are looking for new managers, whether you're going to stay in the squad, whether you're going to stay captain. It was obviously a worry of mine because I didn't want to be one of these players that was known as captain in, you know, their country just the once, and then so as far as I was concerned, you know, I was going to enjoy it, but I was slightly worried, which the papers pointed out anyway. It was just up to me to make an impression and hopefully be given the chance once Mr. Eriksson had come in, and luckily, you know, he kept faith in me.
He's the most famous player England has today, so I think he should be the captain. And of course, when you do such a decision without knowing him very well, you never know if it's the right thing or not. But in this case, it was absolutely the right thing for England and for him and for the team.
Sven Eriksson's confidence was quickly justified. In a young squad, the 25-year-old captain was a veteran international player, ready for all the responsibilities of football's top job, on the pitch and behind the scenes.
Of course, he shall talk for the players, and that's the player I phone most when I need to know something, we need to make some decisions and so on. Sometimes I ask him about his opinion, and please phone around to the players, ask something if you think we should do that or that.
If players want things done, you have to be the point to go and see the manager to see if it's okay, if he wants it done. If the manager wants things done, the manager will come and see you to tell other players. So that's a big part of being a captain, behind the scenes, if you like, as well.
You know, as a manager for the national team, the bad thing is that you have the players so little time. They're coming, and if we are lucky, we can have them 9 days together when you have 2 qualifications games. In other way, 3 days, and then they go. And it can be 1 month, it can be 3 months. Sometimes you don't see them, you just see them. I'm sitting the stand, and they're playing down there, but for Manchester United, not for the national team. So it's more difficult as a national coach to really know the players as you do as a manager for a club. But yeah, I hope it's more than just manager and the captain.
Obviously, I've got massive respect for him as a manager and a person. He talks to me, and he's more of a friendship than a work thing.
Is he a father figure to you?
Yeah, definitely. I've not known him that long. It's only been a year.
Sven Goran Eriksson's managerial style so far has been one of understated authority, though he made it clear this week that indiscipline off the pitch would not be tolerated.
Is any of that keeping the squad in line down to you?
No, I think it's the manager. The manager does that. It's unfair for me to do it because, of course, I like going out and having a good time. I like going out with my family. I like going out with the players.
Since the long-haired Manchester star first came to the attention of the press, Beckham has been centre stage. His marriage to Victoria Adams meant that for better or for worse, his life would always be lit by flash guns. His high-profile family life has caused friction at Manchester United, but to Sven Eriksson, it comes with the territory.
For me, it was a surprise, David Beckham as a person. Because when you don't know him, you just read about him, you see TV about him, but not only as a football player. Also, he's married to Victoria, and of course it creates a big sensation wherever he goes, whatever he is doing and so on, both of them. So the big surprise for me was that he can handle football in the way he can, because it can't be easy. It can't be easy for him at all.
I've said in interviews that I am a normal person, a normal bloke, but obviously there are certain things that do, make me different from other people. Whereas I am in the papers nearly every day, front and back pages, so that is a different thing to what other people have to cope with. But it's something that I have come to terms with. I prefer the talk of David Beckham the footballer than David Beckham the, I don't know, whatever, the haircuts and all that sort of stuff.
The haircut has calmed down a bit, hasn't it? It's not a Mohican anymore.
No, it's not Mohican anymore. But you never know, I might go back to it one day. You never know.
I mean, if you have another haircut during an international campaign, then that's what makes the front page, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It takes the heat off the game anyway.
Does the game need the heat taking off it?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, if it's a big World Cup qualifier, then, it's better the focus sometimes is off the game than on it.
When you play for England, especially from 96 onwards, you face a much larger media audience now. There's so many more TV stations and satellite and radio stations and newspapers and magazines, so that it'd probably be about trebled in my day, back in the 90s and 80s and 90s.
Football has got bigger and bigger every season. So the England captaincy now is even bigger than it's ever been before. So you've got to be good at that. You've got to handle that situation. And to me, whoever is England captain has got to be able to do that, because if you're England captain and you can't handle the press and you can't handle the press conferences and you say the wrong things, they're going to jump on you.
Will this be your proudest moment as England captain if you lead the team to the World Cup?
It will be, definitely. I think there's a lot happened over the last year since I've become captain, and this will be, fingers crossed, the proudest moment.
You're famously somebody who doesn't love the press too much. Has your relationship with them changed, do you think, since you've been the captain? It's been a honeymoon period in football terms, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously, I've had the ups and downs with the press. I've needed them as much as they've needed me in a lot of ways. I've had rough times with them, I've had good times with them. At the moment, it's a good time, because we're through to World Cup Finals and I've been playing quite well in England games.
David Beckham seemed to come in and, he was shy and say things that were going to instantly be big headline news. He wasn't naive when it came to the press conferences, and he's learnt and grown throughout all the ones that he's done, and he's done a lot since '96.
Looking at David recently, he's turning press conferences into a little bit of fun as well.
He seems confident, and the way that he talks and the way that he acts, and there's always a smile on his face as well, which I think is great.
Do you enjoy press conferences now?
Yeah, I don't mind them. You can sort of have a little bit of a laugh and a joke with them, and sometimes they laugh, sometimes they don't. At the moment, it's good. It's had to get, better than what it was, because being England captain, you have to face the press every, 2 days before a game. So it's had to get better.
After the captaincy came the second highest accolade in sport. David Beckham was now a permanent fixture in the nation's heart.
It's a great privilege to receive this award. I have to thank Mr. Eriksson, who had the bottle to keep me as England captain, and I thank him very much for that. Thank you very much again.
His signature now in demand amongst all fans, regardless of their Premier League loyalties. The people's captain is back on top. Beckham has the right PR skills for the job, according to former captain Terry Butcher.
He's the sort of person that a lot of the school children look up to, and quite rightly so. He is an icon, he is an idol. But he lives that and does that very well, because he'll sign the autographs, he'll do the press conferences, he'll speak to cameras, he'll take pictures with everybody.
Always signing. Joe gets me signing so much, it's unbelievable.
Get him working harder than on the football pitch.
Has the signing ever made you wish you hadn't written the book?
No. They're the nice things, that's the nice thing about signing things. People buying your book, and, people wanting to read things about you and get your autograph. There are, kids that just love coming up and idolise, players all over the Premiership. So I think it's so important for you to leave, or for me to leave a lasting impression on kids.
I think that he represents some old-fashioned virtues which are being forgotten. I think he represents family and respect and manners and all those things that we think were deeply unfashionable at present. He's a very old-fashioned man in that sense. I mean, he dresses in a very modern way and wears flash jewellery, but at heart he's a solid citizen. If you think of the lager-lout image that's still around the game, you think of the less than gracious image that footballers have. He doesn't fit that. He fits the opposite of it. And I think that's an example that, because he's a hero, will serve us, our kids, our children, in good stead.
An autograph, yes, to Ben for my grandson. I have to say he's a Liverpool supporter, but he likes David Beckham.
He did two of mine for my grandson.
Oh, Josie.
He's not arrogant, he's nice, he's pleasant, he's polite, he's a gentleman. You don't get many of them in the world today, do you?
Are there some people who just want to touch you?
Yeah, that's the weird part, really. You'll get a hand just come out of nowhere and grab your shoulder, and then you'll just hear giggling and screaming in the background. So it's pretty weird when them sort of thing happens.
Is it ever quite scary?
It was scary, actually, when we arrived in where was it? Malaysia, I think it was. It was just manic. The security, the police. There was meant to be 200 police there, and them 200 police were getting autographs. So it was a bit weird. So they was meant to be creating the barrier, but then they was the ones getting the autographs and trying to touch your head, my head. People were just grabbing for anything, literally anything. My head, my earrings, my watches, my watch. Didn't have a few on, just the one. So it was weird, but it's nice in a way, I suppose.
Donning the captain's armband also means stepping into big boots. Beckham won't have been the first to discover that personality counts and people skills can make the difference between winning and losing.
There's the old saying that, you know, every team is full of captains. It doesn't matter who wears the armband, you're all captains out there and you should all lead and do the things that captains do, but that doesn't always work. People are generally quiet, keep themselves to themselves, and it's up to the captain then, the sort of leader of the team, to try and rouse them and get them going.
Beckham is a new kind of leader, speaking quietly and setting an example. A diplomat rather than a firebrand.
And the captaincy has been fantastic for him. He's scoring goals, he's setting up goals, he's playing really well. He's leading by example, and his example is on the pitch. I don't think he's that aggressive in his shouting and aggressive in the way he goes about his business in the dressing room beforehand.
He's taking everything on board in his own way. You know, he's not a crash bang wallop captain that he's going to be the noisiest and he's going to be the most aggressive on the field. He's not going to be that. He's a different type.
It's weird because I never saw myself as a captain. You know, I'd always hoped to be, but I never see myself as a captain that goes out there and shouts and hollers, which I'm not that sort of person anyway. You know, I don't say much more than I used to say before I was captain, so I just try and go out and just try and perform and work hard, and I think that rubs off on other players, especially because the England team is such a young team. When they see the captain working hard, when they see other players working hard, you know, you want to follow that and you want to do things for each player.
He comes alive when he's on a football pitch. He can be very aggressive on a football pitch when it's the right time to be aggressive, and that's with his passing, and that's with his tackling, and that's with his jumping for a ball. You know, he's a winner. He doesn't want to get beaten.
He doesn't need to talk about respect to the players. They have respect for him because he's very professional, he's a very good football player, and he's a very good man. So, I mean, you don't need to tell them, I'm the captain, I have to decide. No. He has that as a natural gift.
Whatever the ingredients, Sven Eriksson and his captain seem to have the chemistry working. For England to field a world-beating team was once beyond the fans' wildest dreams. One that could beat Germany was the stuff of fiction.
Things have been going so well, especially with England, because, you know, we've reached a World Cup Finals, whereas in a year ago, if we'd have said, you know, we're going to be topping the group and going straight through instead of going through to qualifiers, then, you know, we'd have all said, yeah, all right, you know, we're talking about the Germans there being 5 points clear with 2 or 3 games to go. So it's been a massive turnaround, and a turnaround that I'll never forget, because of course being England captain, it makes it even more special.
Is this the best squad since 1966? People are talking in those terms.
I'd like to think so, because I'm involved and I'm captain.
There he is. Not surprisingly, comparisons are already being made with the last captain to lift the World Cup for England.
The nearest to David in terms of genuine modesty and inspirational leadership on the field would be Bobby Moore. He's very like Bobby in many ways. Bobby wasn't, you know, the articulate guy, but there's something rock solid about Bobby. And he's also, of course, the other thing they share in common, Bobby's a very great player.
As people, I think they're alike, at different positions, but both, to me, in their own quiet way, excellent leaders.
Are you Bobby Moore?
I think it'd be unfair to me to say that, because Bobby Moore was one of the world's great footballers, and, you know, to be spoken in that sort of breath, then, you know, it would be a special thing for me. But to be honest, you know, I'd rather not.
Of course. But people will talk of you in those terms, won't they?
Yeah, I think just because I'm England captain, maybe.
Yeah, just because of that aspect, yeah.
Go on, you Angleterre! Scared of none, you know the prize and what's to be won.
For success-starved England fans, the slightest prospect of a golden age for the international game means looking back fondly to 1966 and all that.
It's the best team we've got since we won the last World Cup.
If we get over there, I think we've got every chance of winning it.
Oh, hopefully we'll be injury-free next year and we'll
will do the business for us all.
Bring back the 66. Come on! Come on, England!
Jeff Hurst goes forward. He might make it 3. He has! He has! And that's it!
You know, I think as a nation, we need for the national team to start winning games and doing well in big competitions. Because, to be fair, you know, we deserve a bit of it. You know, we haven't had a lot of luck along the last few years, last 10, 15 years. But it definitely changed against Greece. Because you watch a Germany match after and it's the chances they had, 5 or 6 clear chances. And then you just gradually start to think it's fate.
We're going to Japan! We're not just going to Japan, we're going to win!
The last time I was involved with them was Greece away, and I am so impressed with them that they were a confident bunch of players that all believed in their own ability and believed in each other's ability, and to me at that time they would have beaten anybody. So I'm just hopeful that they're in that form when we go to Japan. Because to me they're a match for anybody.
We have got a lot of individuals in the team that make everyone click, and that's the important part about this England team at the moment. You know, we're all clicking and we're all performing together. We all get on well together. No nastiness. There's just a nice atmosphere between every one of the players.
It'd be a fantastic sight if he's lifting that World Cup come the summer, and the whole country, you know, behind him. And let's hope that can happen.
In June, we'll see what's happening. It's a big test for him and for all the team, for England, for all of us. There you're going to meet the best players in the world, and we'll see how well he can do and we can do.
I've got a little present for you because you've all done so much for me. So it's for everyone at Adidas. What is it? You'll have to open it.
When the music stops, right? Gift wrap. There you go. Adidas. Superb. You're a big help. Thank you very much. Very kind.
Thank you. Cheers.
What's over? It's fantastic.
Well, seeing as it's present giving time.
Oh, it's Christmas.
Christmas has come early, yeah. Just a small gift from us, not quite as big as that one, but we've produced a one-off book for you. Hopefully small enough just to go on the coffee table at home. But it's basically about the celebration of David Beckham and England in the road to the World Cup Finals.
Thank you.
And of course it ends in that fabulous free kick that
Thank
none
you.
of us will ever forget.
Did Teddy say he was going to have a crack at that one? Because you don't.
He actually said the one before that he wanted, and I said no. This is going in. It's got to go in. And then I missed that one, and then the one I scored from, he said I'll have that one, and I said no, it's too far for you. So, I think he looked at the goal and thought, yeah, maybe it is. So.
But it's actually going to go down now as one of the sort of most important, most well sort of remembered goals in English football.
I hope so. It's memorable for me. You know, it's probably one of the first times I've ever felt that emotional from scoring and winning a game.
But what do you think what you put into the game as well? I don't think it's surprising.
That's what I mean.
Everyone was crying around us in the crowd.
I mean, I had loads of friends there, and they just said everyone was just in tears everywhere.
Where are those boots now? I suppose that's the question that all the country wants to know.
My dad's got them. My dad's got them safe.
He has a habit of getting your very best boots.
He's got the ones from the halfway line as well.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
He's got quite a collection.
They're all on the safe.
Obviously, the boots help. Because
they do,
that's why when I get a new pair of boots every game, because I don't just do it because being awkward. I do it because it makes me feel special to have a new pair of boots, and especially what you done with the boots for this game. You know, there was I had like Brooklyn on the tongue. It was like loads of advertising on the boots. You know, it was the date, the flag, my number, my name, Brooklyn's name. We all have a laugh and a joke about each other's boots, and you know, some players say, "Oh, look at his gimmicks" and all that. But I think deep down they're jealous.
When you were growing up as a kid, who were your hero captains?
Brian Robson. That was it. He was my ultimate hero. He was the player I wanted to be on the on the school pitch, on the school playground. He was the only player I ever wanted to be, Brian Robson. I wanted to wear his shirt, I wanted to play with him. Yeah. And I'm lucky enough now to be wearing the number 7 shirt, and I played with him a couple of times.
What was that like?
Well, I think any young boy growing up wants to be a footballer, and they've got their heroes. To actually meet them is an honour, but to actually play in the same game as them, you know. I got my mum and dad to buy the same boots as him, got, you know, his shirt, you know, everything.
And you went to meet him as a kid, didn't you, in the dressing room?
Yeah, I met him a few times. He actually tells the story about me walking in the change room, and I think him and Steve Bruce turned around to each other and said, God, he must be some player, because I was there every week, every London game.
How does that feel when young players come to the England squad now and they're looking to you for advice and they're a bit starstruck with you?
It's a nice feeling, to be honest, because obviously I'd been through it with meeting, you know, Gaza and the players that were in the squad then. But obviously I don't go to players and say, do you want some advice? If they wanted something or needed to talk to me about something, then of course as England captain, that's my responsibilities.
So did you ever try and get autographs of people who weren't sports style, pop music people?
Yeah, one of the biggest ones I got was probably Sean Connery. I met Sean Connery once.
And what happened that day then?
We was playing a friendly, I think it was a tournament in Scotland against Rangers, and he was up there, and I think he knows the manager, so he walked into the dressing room and sort of everyone was getting ready, and I was like, God, Sean Connery. So I had to meet him and I got him to sign a programme for me. When I've done certain photo shoots, you know, I've especially with Adidas, because there's obviously Zidane, there's Del Piero, there's Raul, you know, all these, Patrick Kluivert, you know, I still get them to sign things for me now, and when we was over doing this advert actually, Del Piero asked for a picture with me. So, you know, there's certain things like that where, you know, I don't get embarrassed about asking. When I swap shirts with Ronaldo and Rivaldo, I'll get them to sign the back. I'll get them to sign it to Brooklyn.
That old trick.
Yeah. Yes.
You ever had a stalker?
I've had a few actually.
I'm just thinking about the autograph thing again.
I've had a few actually.
What does that feel like?
At first I found it not funny, but it's one of them, you know, you always get the famous people talking about the stalkers they've had, and, you know, you read stories about stalkers, but then, you know, when it actually happens to you, and you've got someone hiding in a bush, you know, just waiting to get a glimpse of you or just to touch you, it's a bit scary. But
what about a sort of friendly stalker? What is the idea of autograph artists who want to come back again and again, whether you actually get a sort of relationship going with somebody who always asks for your autograph?
Yeah, I think Victoria gets that, to be honest. She's got a couple of fans that follow her just everywhere, you know, so I think that is the nice part of having, you know, fans that are your #1 fans. You know, there's I think there's a little boy at Manchester United who changed his name to Beckham. You know, his name is Ryan, so he's you know, it's little things like that make you laugh, and it's just it's nice for me to hear that, really. That's the nice part.
Yeah, I think you've got a copy of the birth certificate, haven't you?
Yeah, I have actually. He sent me a letter asking, you know, if he could go ahead with it. It's not a problem. It wasn't a problem to me.
It wasn't just, you think, so he could sign a few autographs for you?
Well, you never know. You never know.
And the autograph itself, has it changed since you first used to practice it?
Well, it has changed since then, yeah.
Because you did, didn't you? Tell me about that, your landlady in the old days.
Yeah, I think Annie's got some autographs of mine that I just used to scribble down. I spoke to her the other day actually, and just after the England game, and she's still got it, I think. Yeah, she has still got it. But I always, you know, I think people do, you know, practice their autographs. Well, I did when I was younger, because I always knew what I wanted to do and hoped that it'd come true, that dream. But it has changed a lot, but it will stay the same as what it is now.
But it sort of had come through at that stage, hadn't it? Because you were an apprentice then, weren't you?
Yeah.
And at the time, like being captain once, did you feel in those days, if I just get to play one game?
Yeah, I think you always feel like that, you know, you get to play one good game, score one good goal, you know, and people seem to remember that. And that's the thing I've always, you know, thought about in football. You know, getting into the youth team, getting into the reserve team, staying in them teams, then getting into the first team, training with the first team for the first time, and then hoping the next morning when you go into training that you're training with them again. Certain things like that.
We often hear about sort of older players saying, you know, it's not the same as it was in my day. What do you say to that? Because it obviously has changed in that way, hasn't it? They were on a pittance compared to...
Yeah, as I said, it's changed so much. You know, as you get some older players saying, you know, they deserve it. If they can get it, they deserve it. But you get some other players say, you know, they shouldn't be on this sort of money, and why the players can play and how many games they play, you know. But it is tough. It is tough these days because there are a lot more games than there used to be. But players have got to adapt to it because the amount of money players are paid these days, they are paid a lot. And that sort of money brings a certain amount of responsibility.
If there was no money, would you still do it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
If you weren't the same as Stanley Matthews, if that hadn't changed, if you were...
Yeah, of course. Of course. Because I'm happy playing football. Of course, obviously the money side comes along with it, which also helps because it's for your future and for your family's future. But of course I'd play if I weren't getting paid.
So you haven't had to practice Sir David Beckham yet then?
No.
I bet you have on the kitchen table, haven't you?
No, of course I haven't. Of course I haven't.
Because that sort of goes with the job after a while, doesn't it?
What?
Sort of higher honours, medals and, you know.
Yeah, I think if you do well in your career, then certain things come up. You know, personally, you know, one of the best things that I've ever got is the second best player in the world, which is obviously an ambition to top that by you know, getting the best player in the world. At one point that would be nice, but I know I've got to work hard for that.
Your current manager thinks you might well be anyway.
Does he? What one?
The England manager.
I think it's not fair for me to comment on them sort of things, really.
But have you got better?
Over
the last few years?
I've had the players and the team around me to make me better. You know, I think without the teammates that I've got, you know, I wouldn't be able to score the goals, take the free kicks and play as well as I can, because, you know, if you've not got a good team without you, yeah, you'll get noticed, but, you know, different players make you look better, and I'm lucky enough to have that with England and with Man United. Greece had nearly scored actually up the other end, and Nigel Martin threw the ball out to me. I showed a bit of pace and run down the line, and the right back caught up with me. I turned back, and then another player caught up with me. So I turned back, then done a little shimmy, and went to go past the player, and the referee was unbelievable that day. You know, he was giving us sort of everything, which was good. You know, we had a lot of free kicks, and I remember trying to go past this player, and he fouled me, and we got the free kick, and I was a bit annoyed. So there was a piece of paper on the floor which I threw up in the air, and then I see Teddy coming on. And just as Teddy was running over to go into the box, he said, "Hit me near post." And I've played with Teddy so many times, and you know, if you put the ball in the right place, he's going to score because he's a quality player. And luckily for me, you know, I put it in the right place, and you know, as soon as it left his head, he knew it was in. So got us back in the game, and then they went up the other end and scored, which was nice.
For them? Do you ever feel sorry for the other side?
No. No.
Why not?
Because I'm a winner, you know. All I'm thinking about is the team I'm playing for. Of course, I'd never take the mick out of players and teams, and never, you know, try and wind them up, you know, if we're winning the game so much. But no, I wanted to win that game so much. That's why I think the emotion comes out when other players score, like in the Germany game, because we wanted it all so much.
At what stage in the match did you know things were going to start going so very right?
When Michael scored. Maybe before that, actually. Because we'd gone 1-0 down, obviously. And then I remember Michael turning around to me and saying, you know, we can score here. You know, we've got a chance. Let's get an early goal as quick as we can and then take it from there. He didn't say all that, he just said we can score. And he was right, because the first chance he got, he scored.
So were the Germans showing not very good form from early on?
I don't know whether it was the Germans, we were playing well, you know, at the time. People will always say, you know, Germany weren't at their best. But at the end of the day, they're still a force to be beaten. And whatever anyone says, you know, it was a hard game. But we had our chances and took them.
And you set up some of those goals yourself?
Yeah, I set up the ball through to Scholesy, and then Scholesy put it through to Emil, and Emil scored the fifth.
When you walk onto the pitch wearing the captain's armband, is it a bigger feeling than walking on for your club side in terms of the whole nation looking to you?
It's the same, really. You know, the buzz I get from walking out with Man United is immense. It's just, you know, one of them feelings that you have to actually do and feel to realise how special it is. Because Man United are the biggest club, definitely in Europe, if not the world. You know, worldwide, Man United are massive. And for me to walk out for them, you know, I've supported them my whole life, and that's proud. But then walking out for England is a special moment, very special moment.